Hi there, it's Kevin from the Figure Owners Club. It's great to be with you. This is a video I've been meaning to do for such a long time and I finally got around to it. And it's all about how to improve the seats on your Figaro. Now, the car was supplied with the most amazing leather seats. What we're going to try and do today is we're going to bring them back to how they were. Well, certainly not as good as they were when the car was built, but certainly improve them from what they are possibly at the moment. Certainly if you've got the original leather seats on your car and they haven't been reupholstered over time. So we're going to look at the processes involved. I've got the kit here. We've got a little sample seat that we're going to work on as well to show before and after. So the first thing we're going to do is let's look at the car, let's look at the seats that were provided, and we'll just chat through what's going on here. So the first thing here is obviously the two front seats, beautifully finished in leather, and the back bench seat as well. So this is the original seat. If yours is fluted, then the chances are that's not the original. So these are the original seats. As you can see, no fluting on these, very plain. And one of the situations you do get with the car, and I've seen it time and time again, so we're going to go through some of the little tips, is you tend to get leather yellowing on the top here. So and this is due to either the UV, the sun getting obviously onto the top of the leather through the back window, and it becoming very, very hot. You imagine that's almost like a greenhouse effect here, isn't it, with the window? And what happens is you get this yellowing effect on the top of this seat at the back, and we're going to sort that out. We're going to show you how you can do that, because the dye will cover all that yellowing up. You can actually, have seen on the internet, you can remove it by applying all sorts of cleaners to it, but the best thing to do is to re-dye it. And the dye that we're going to use is exactly the same color as the Figaro, the original ivory color here. So we've done a video as to how to take the seats out, so I'm just going to chat a little bit about that. Now you can do this process with the seats in the car, but to be honest, if you're going to do it sort of really well and you want to sort of get to all parts of the seat, it's really best to take the seats out of the car and do it sort of in a workshop or even in your house on your dining room table. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through how that process is. I've done a video on that. I won't show you that, but I'm going to put the link in, because there's a little trick as to how to get this seat out, this bottom seat out, and the back as well is fairly simple. So I'll put the little link into that. So I won't go through that now. With the front seats, very, very simple. You've basically got 4 bolts, and they're 12mm bolts down here, you can see, and they go down into the chassis of the car, and it's on a chassis that the seat sits on a chassis with these little angle pieces here, and the same with the front. So if I go around here, I'm just going to move that back so you can see what I'm talking about. So here is another one of the bolts. Hopefully that's coming out. Hopefully it is anyway. And there's another one over here, so you can see that. So I would suggest definitely take the seats out, work on them away from the car. So also what we're going to do is we're going to be working on this little sample seat. This is courtesy of the Figaro shop. Thanks very much for sending this over to me. And the reason I wanted to do this is because I'm going to put a piece of masking tape down the middle of it, and I'm going to put do a before and after, because obviously you can't really do that on the car. So this is a little sample seat that we're going to be working on, and also talking about the beading on the upholstery as well. Now, I'm no upholsterer. I'm just a guy that can do practical work. So as I said, anyone can really do this type of work. It's not super difficult. So we're going to take you through each process. But the first thing is, let's have a look at the kit that's supplied to do all the work. Okay, so this is the kit that we've got here, and this is supplied by the leather repair company, and this is the people that we work with through the club. As I said, they've created a specific dye for the Figaro upholstery, so it matches it perfectly. So these are the people we work with as a club. So I'm just going to go through what you get with the kit. The first thing to say is that this kit is really what they call the small one. and they do a small and medium. So the small one I would suggest is okay for 2 seats. If you're going to do all of your upholstery, including the bench seat, then you need the medium. You need the bigger one, the 2. So the price of the small one is, well, at the time of purchasing this, so it's December 2020, you're looking at around 39 quid. So that's the cost of the kit. So what do we get? So we've got, obviously, I'm going to go through, we've got a leather prep. So this is a cleaning fluid. This is to remove any sort of existing you know, finish that's been put onto the seat. This will strip that back, so you've just got the original leather, so you really don't know what's been applied to the seat. So certainly worth doing that. And then this is the dye, as you can see, and then if we turn it round, they label it as the Figaro. There you go. So that's what you're looking for. So when you order the kit, there's like a little drop down field, and they do lots of different colours, and so if you drop down the field, you'll see the word Figaro amongst all the other colours. So that's the one you need to select. When you finish doing the dye, so as I said, that's the prep, and then you've got the dye stage 2, if you like. When you finish that, you've got a choice of putting a top coat on, which is either a nice glossy finish, that's a gloss lacquer, or you can put the matte finish on it. I think I'll probably go with the matte, because I think that's going to look a little bit nicer. Now, what are these 4 little things here? Well, that's actually what they call a leather colorant. So that's like a little mixing kit, and you get a little leaflet here to show you how to do this. Now, the reason that this is quite important to have this is that we may, or you may, need to do something with the beading, and obviously the beading is like a dark grey, different colours on the seats, but if you've got cracks in the beading, then that will need to be filled. So they do a filler kit as well, so you need to apply some filler to that, and then you need to mask it back, and then you need to apply this dye, if you like. And it's trial and error really. What you're going to have to do is mix this up and try and find the colour that is the same as the beading, because they don't do a beading colour kit, so you're going to have to do that by trial and error. So what else do you get? Obviously, you've got a nice polishing cloth at the end of it. You get a little bit of Brillo pad here if you want to sort of really get to any marks or mucks and stains off of the seats. And if you do any filling, then you've got a little bit of emery cloth here as well, and obviously the gloves here. And these are the sponges that you can apply it with. This is what I've done before. So this is for applying the dye to the seats. So that's the kit. That's what we're looking at. You do get some instructions, but they're fairly basic. Basically, prep it, colour it, seal it. So you get a top bit. This is what, you know, this is what a before and after, if you like. So fairly basic, and obviously a little leaflet here about all the other bits and bobs they do. So we're going to move on to the seat next, and we're going to start preparing it for the application of the dye and the processes involved in that. Okay, so this is the seat we've been loaned by the Figaro shop to work on. The first thing to do is obviously hoover it out. Lots of bits and bobs will go down here, horrible dirt and stuff like that. So I'm going to get a hoover with a nice pointy sharpie end and get in there and get all the dirt out. Okay, so I've masked the seat up, so I'll put a bit of masking tape down here, because as I said earlier, I want to be able to show the before and after. So the first part of the process, obviously after we've hoovered it, got all the bits out of in between all this, is to apply the leather prep. So this is it, and it's got all the instructions on the back. It tells you, used to remove the existing surface colour from the leather, prepares the leather for the colour restoration. So that's to do with obviously applying the dye. So now this is pretty potent stuff. It's got all sorts of horrible warnings on the back here, so be very careful with this and make sure that you wear your gloves and apply it quite sparingly. So you know, I've got a cloth here and I've already started on the process, so what I'm doing is just tipping that over like that onto the cloth, starting here, and you can see, if I do a little video, I mean, it just you can see all the muck coming off of it. It's incredible. This is probably years and years and years of dirt and grime. And look. So I'm going to go through this process. I'm going to hopefully get these little spots off. I mean, what we're looking for is to try and mask, if you like, all this in it. So we're trying to get the dye to fill these little cracks. See, it's not really cracks, but you can see if you look at the seat from a distance, you can see all these little tiny marks on it. And there's even a tear there. So it'll be interesting to see how it copes with that. Someone's got in with a buckle or something off their belt and actually torn the seat. So it'll be interesting to see how it handles that. So as I said, it's a little bit of labour of love here. So the first thing is to apply this cleaner, and you want to remove anything that was existing, and you'll see as you do it, the dirt will come off, or any old clean or any old type of leather restorer. It's going to take it right back to the original leather of the car when it was made. Once we finish that, the next thing we need to do is we need to mask the beading here, because we don't want to get the dye onto the beading because it's a different colour. So that's the next stage. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work through all of this, and then I'll do another video and see what it looks like. So I just wanted to share with you a little technique that I've found here. It looks like somebody's been creosoting a fence with this, because there's lots of little black marks on it, which this won't get out just with the cloth. So you're going to have to go for the Brillo, and I've just got a little pot and just dip it in really, really carefully. What I've been doing, where there's a little tiny dot there, you just give it a little bit of a, it will actually come off. You're going to have to be very, very careful, and just trust me with this. You can see the nut coming off of it. There we go, here it comes. So it's removing a little bit of that, so that's that now. Now what you find is sort of bits of colour coming off here as well. So you know, little tiny bits of, it looks like sort of leather particles, really small. So what I've been doing is just with a little bit of this emery, firstly drying it, and you can see this effect. So with the emery, just rub that over it, and it will actually almost kind of sand it back. All these little tiny bits will disappear, but it does get it. There we go, it's gone now. So you've got to have a little bit of courage there, but you get these little bits coming off. This could be that this seat's already been done sort of way back, and this is you know, I'm pulling off an original re-dyed seat from way back, but I don't think it's that. I've done one before and I can't remember it. So as I said, you can, this is what this is for. This is just, you can actually sand the seat by doing that, and it gets it really smooth. Bit of wet and dry, that's lovely there now. So you're looking to get rid of all these little tiny dots really, because although the dye will make a good job of it, it won't necessarily cover up a dot like that. So as I said, it looks like somebody's been painting, and there's quite a lot there as well. So working on that at the moment, and but I thought I'd share that with you. Dip a little bit of the Brillo into a pot and just go very, very carefully. Okay, so that's all cleaned, and you can see the difference because it's a very matte finish now compared to that's quite glossy. In fact, when I touch that now, you can see it feels a lot different to that. Looks really clean, so that's good. It took I guess half an hour to do that, so maybe an hour to do the whole seat. You know, as I said, take your time. You will find when you're cleaning between here, it's a bit fiddly because you have to clean this out, and I did find I was using the hoover quite a bit to get the bits out, but it can all be done. It just takes a little bit of time. Right, the next stage is to mask the beading. Now on Facebook, a Scottish member whose name escapes me now. He used a bit of fish pond tubing, and he obviously cut it, and he popped it over the beading, which is a really great idea actually, and certainly probably better than doing this. But the way I've done it in the past is just use masking tape. So what I do is cut sort of small lengths, if you like, and come in and get it as tight as you can to the seat. Yeah, and then what I tend to do then is with another piece go the other way, and you'll find that, and then once you've done that, a little bit fiddly, and then just join it like that. Don't try and wrap it round. Use one piece, don't try and wrap it round, so it's really fiddly. So I tend to do lots of bits as the angles go round. There's another piece there. You can see it's really following the shape of the seat. But you will have to do this because the die will actually end up dyeing the beading, and it's really hard to get off. When I first did Figgy, or probably 10 years ago now, Dan's car, I remember getting it on that, and wish I'd spent a bit more time masking it. So it's all to do with the preparation, and this is just like decorating your house, you know. So what you're doing is you're painting the seat, and the bit you don't want the paint to get onto, like the skirting and all the rest of it, you need to mask, or your walls. So imagine you're doing your house. So that's it. I'm going to mask all the way around that. Obviously not going to film me doing that, but that's the next stage. This is all nice and clean and ready for the dye. Okay, on to the next bit. So all masked up, you can see the technique. It's pretty good, and it's much easier to do it like that. You can just turn it over and just do the underside. Nice and easy to do. What I would suggest you do is get some good quality masking tape. You know, there's masking tape and masking tape. The more you pay, the better the edging will be. You can get this like super expensive stuff now, like £8 a roll. I wouldn't suggest you go that level, but I think this is like £3 a roll, something like that. So get some good quality masking tape, and that's all ready to go. So we'll get into the exciting part now, which is to apply the dye, and onto the last part. Well, almost the last part. Okay, this is the fun part. So it says to shake this bottle really well, and this is the Figaro dye. I've got the sponge. You get 2 of these. So what you need to do is just tip it onto the sponge, and what you're looking to do here is build up layers. So you're not looking for an instant finish. You know, this is going to be quite a long process, and the more light layers you can apply, the better. So it's just a case of working it in to the seat, coming up to the beading. This is the fun part, isn't it? I wonder how many bums have sat on this seat over the years. This car's obviously 30 years old, this seat, and I wonder how many owners the car's had. I always think of that. I mean, it's just incredible. The finish, the difference between this and the other side is just incredible. So you can see the colour match is so good. It's, you know, putting it on and it's just like magic. Fabulous. So as I said, work it in. I'm going to go and have a cup of tea in a minute because it's cup of tea time. So I'm going to do a little bit more, and then I'm going to let it dry. I'm lucky enough to have a nice workshop with overhead lights, but as I said, you can do this in your house. It doesn't smell, so it's quite an easy job to do. It just takes time, like everything, but it's, I mean, when you think about it, this kit was 40 quid, so that's 20 quid a seat, basically. I think the bigger kit is like 60 quid, so whole car you could make your seats look fantastic for like £60, and you know, a day's labour. And as I said, I don't know what I mentioned at the beginning of the video, but you know, we do a lot of valuations for the club, and I'm always amazed the poor state of people's seats, because the car can look fantastic, it's all polished and the chrome's looking great, all the carpets, but the seats really let the car down. And it's a shame, because it can affect the value of a car, especially when people are viewing it. The first thing they'll do is they'll probably look at the seats, and if they're all like marked and, you know, look old and they're dirty, it's, you know, it puts people off buying the car, or you don't get as much for it. So certainly I would suggest this is such a cost-effective way of increasing the value of your car. There's so many little tricks with the Figaro. People buy the car for such a small amount of money, spend a little bit of money, but quite a lot of labour on it, and before they know it, I'm not saying they've doubled their money, but they've probably made a good amount of income from it. But you know, it's a fun thing to do as well, if you're practical like I am, and I love working with my hands. I've spent quite a lot of time doing stuff for the club in terms of the internet and newsletters and updating the website and all the rest of it, so it's lovely to get out. And I mean, look at that, guys and girls, look at that, hey? I mean, that, I can't wait for this to be finished, to show you the difference between the beginning and the end. Anyway, I'm getting super excited. So as I said, just a little blob on the sponge, circular motion. I'm just going to go around the back. Watch me do the back, because you can see some of the marks here. It'll get out. I hope it will come out with the filming. But you can see these marks here, and it's you know, maybe a few layers it require. But as I said at the beginning of the video, I think I mentioned that you can get some yellowing, certainly on the bench seat at the back. I've seen it quite a few times, and this is fantastic for getting that yellowing out, or basically painting. You're painting over it basically. So okay, I'm not going to video all of this, so move on to the next stage, and I'll give it another couple of layers, and then we'll do the peeling off of the beading. But it's looking good. Okay, so I'm on the final lap now, and this is the application of the sealer. I've decided actually to go for the gloss finish, because I tried it a little bit on the side, and it looks really nice in the gloss. So also a little tip here is cut these sponges in half, because then you get sort of 4 lots of sponges. So just apply this, and I'm just, again, what it says on the bottle is to do it in layers. So I'm just applying it in a very thin layer. And I've taken all the masking tape off the beading. That's all off now. That looks great. I'm also applying that onto the beading as well, so that looks really nice. And then this dries pretty quickly. One of the things it does say on the side of here is to speed up the drying process, just apply a hairdryer to the seat, and that does seem to do the trick. So I mean, it dries pretty quick. I'd say it's probably drying something like 10-15 minutes. I've got these overhead lights here which seem to be drying it really well. So this is what we're looking at now. So obviously it needs a little bit of, still a little bit of tidying up, but really pleased with it. So I'm going to give this 3 or 4 coats, and then we'll have the big reveal. We'll take the masking tape off, and we can see what it was like earlier and what it's like now. Very therapeutic little project to do. Okay. All done, all finished. I'm really pleased with the finish. I mean, it's just incredible how you can renovate a seat if you can see before and after. So I'm going to just do this for the video, and if I go round, you can kind of see the detail. The back here, what it was like before. I mean, look at all that. That's that side. And if I come around here, that's this side. It's just an amazing piece of kit. It really is. Just the dyeing and the gloss top. You can see the line there. As I said, master beading up. The beading's come out really nice. It's got a slight shine to it now. Interestingly, the little tear that we saw earlier is almost camouflage. You can't really see it at all. And imagine your car looking like that. Imagine your seats, all of your seats looking as shiny and as clean as this. And I did this about 8 years ago with Dan's car, and it's still fine. So it will last a long time. And the good thing is that you can redo the dyeing if you get a little bit of scuffing, especially here. This is quite a scuffy area, when you first get in the car. So you get a bit of scuffing there. Then this can be like, take this gloss area off and reapply it. You've got more than enough. I mean, I've got, as I said earlier, the one I've got here was a small one, and that's meant for the 2 seats. But the medium is meant for all 4 seats. But I probably got enough to easily give this a little bit more, because I reckon I've used 15% of the actual dye, probably a little bit less. Obviously, there's two bottoms and 2 backs, and the backs are quite tall. So who knows? I mean, it's certainly enough to do the 2 seats. But there we go. So anyway, I hope that's useful. Another video from Kevin, and we're actually in lockdown here in Buckinghamshire, so something to do over Christmas. And all the best to everyone. I'm going to put the links on where to buy the kit from, and obviously if you've got any queries or you're not sure about something, then you can always email the club. Email me, sales@figaroniclub.com, and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. All right, over and out. All the best. Cheers. Bye.